comments, not just questions, your comments as well. I've had the opportunity.
Is there an educator in the back?
We got 3 here, yes.
I couldn't dare did it. What do you foresee in the future for towns with a population of 15,000 or less for the future?
Well, frankly, before I came here, I was pretty pessimistic about that. It sounds like you've got towns around here that are pretty small towns that are doing pretty well. Now, you got a big agricultural sector, which certainly helps. Food prices are high, and they're probably not going down anytime soon. So you have a commodity that supports the economy. But a lot, as almost everybody told me, I got this little factory, and these people went from 2 people employing 10 to 15 people. It's a matter of using the productivity that is on offer, and that productivity is digital. Not to say that you're not growing food, but there has to be a digital component to the pricing, to the formulation, to the technologies, and things like that. And let me give you a hint of what the next technology may be. I think you've got universities here are on board with that, and that's biology. Remember I said steam, rail, I skipped electricity and steel, petroleum, IT. IT is not going to be producing new rounds of productivity forever. Petroleum didn't, electricity didn't. There's a lot of it, and it grows, but it's not adding new productivity. So it's about adding new productivity. In IT, in 10 or 20 years, by the time I come back until 2027, it will pretty well be what the petroleum era was in the 60s and 70s. We will have used up almost everything we can do with an electron, with a wireless radio wave, and things like that. And we will be looking for some new kind of technology to grow on. And I think the research that we're doing in biology these days, and biology not just for human health, which will be tremendous, but for agriculture. And not just for modified crops, which of course is going on all the time. It's actually growing food in chemical plants, bioreactors. Sounds pretty awful. Ugh. Artificial food, frankenmeat, you know. But, you know, I don't do email. That's what everybody said in the 80s, you know, guys particularly. Real men don't type, you know, it's that kind of thing. So it will be resisted. But if it's very productive, if it's very inexpensive and nutritious and safe, why do we grow things out in big fields which require lots of water and lots of nutrients in the soil and fertilizers and things like that? If in fact we could come up with an inexpensive, safe, nutritious, and tasty product out of that. So that's the next kind of way of thinking. Now I want to get the educators. Please, sir.
Well, you get, I've got 17 or 18 questions.
We'll do 16 of those offline, okay?
You brought up so many great points. One of the questions I asked earlier, maybe to get back is, are you aware of any interesting educational models that have sort of broken the mold in one way or the other, either K-12 or higher ed? But, you know, my son went to St. Cloud State here recently. I think he said I'm going to make a comment as a parent.
Please, yeah, absolutely.
So he went to school for 2 years, he went full time. And I've been in this world of, the K-12 people aren't educating the kids well enough, and they're taking art development education courses, and there's a lot of adults coming back to school figuring math, and they just out of math for 50 years. There's a lot of those people in this class too. And our graduation rate, depending on where you're at, our graduate completion rate might be anywhere from 30 to 70%. So, you know, gee whiz, you know, I can't get these guys graduate until my kid comes.
It looks different.
In 2 years, he going to school full time, he amassed 33 passing credits. And those of you who know that if you go to school full time, you should get 60 credits. He managed to withdraw from 21 credits to 26.
Spoken as a true parent.
I'm an old school guy.
Okay.
My conversation with him would go like this. Sean, sit down. crisis
Mhm.
that our K-12 people have to deal with is beyond belief.
Yeah.
And the simple answer is, it's K-12's fault. And and it's interesting, because I hear that I hear this all the time, and I kind of sit there and I grind out on this principle, and I think to myself, you know what, I just don't know that, well, my poor kids got an old school dad, and that's not my
And I'm glad you brought up the concept of fault, because I believe we jump to fault way too quickly. We teach a course in our program called Systems Thinking, and the generalization for that course, this is something my wife taught me, every course has one sentence, and the whole course is about that one sentence. And the sentence for that course is that a system's behavior, what it produces, is a function of its structure. In parentheses, rather than the people in the system. This is a system which was developed with all good intention and with brilliance in the late part of the 19th century. It became universal in the early part of the 20th century, and it did a brilliant job of preparing us. I mean, we all went through the system, and our parents, and to some extent grandparents, and we're doing okay. And the problem is that system has reached what we call the inherent capacity for performance. If you want to go faster than a Tour de France bicyclist, you better get yourself a motorcycle. I don't care how much you train, how much titanium you put on the bike, you know, what kind of steroids you take or whatever, the Vespa is going to beat you every single day. That's a different system. So to me, it's not the K-12 school fault. It's not all of education, and frankly, if you want me to rant on higher education, I'm glad to do that as well. It is the system that we've created that is now obsolete and outmoded. And frankly, look in the mirror, we're all part of that system. None of us have taken, this gentleman's comment here. How do you make this change? Well, either some aside is going to come along and figure out how to do this, or else there's going to be a crisis one way or the other. So, and it sounds like a cliche, it's the system. There's nobody in this system who can change it. Then how does the change occur? So I agree with everything you've said, and wouldn't you agree that the public at large is relatively complacent about a system which it has very little trust in and believes in, and whose performance is so woeful? What other institution in our society is so poorly performing? Maybe Congress, I guess, put up and they do that, but that's a system too. The people there. You can take all of those people, kick them all out, put all of the new people in there. A lot of the things works. So that's true. It's from beginning to end. It's a system that is stuck in